Special education. Today, when I sub in the high schools of Yuma, Arizona, it's one of the more visible programs in the school system. Why more visible? Because for years and years, special ed didn't really exist. I'm going to review what I saw as an educator for, about 20 years, from 1949 to 1969. And then I'm going to skip to a more personal level for the last 7 or 8 years. In 1949-1950, teaching half-time out there at Kremlin, Oklahoma, special ed non-existent. Nothing at all. However, in my typing class, I had an interesting thing happen. You had a service company that would come out and check your typewriters, and if you had a problem, you called them. Well, Johnny Bill Ritchie was in that typing class, and if he wasn't the last and the lowest and the poorest typist in that class, he was giving somebody else a heck of a run for it. But by the middle of the semester, no point in calling a serviceman, Johnny Bill Ritchie could fix it. But that kid has had a very talented life as a mechanic at some level because he was mechanically gifted. Was he not really bright intellectually? I don't think you can say that and be that gifted mechanically. He probably just wasn't interested in the other side of it. That he was something else. Made me jealous. I have no mechanical ability hardly at all. Well, then after getting recalled for the Korean War and coaching and teaching a year at Coates, Kansas, non-existent. No special ed of any kind. Don't remember any incidents. 1954-56, Hartner, Kansas, non-existent. But I do remember we had a boy, I won't name him, that was playing basketball for Coach Lamb, who was not a good classroom student. He was having trouble staying eligible. Whoa, Don came in one evening, I don't know who he reamed out, but he was burning. He said, I took care of that. There won't be anybody calling one of the ball players on a team of mine a bad name like idiot. Well, that kid wasn't a good student, but he's a darn good basketball player. And how neat that somehow he managed to get enough help from friends or to just buckle down and stay eligible and play. 1956-59, Elkhart, Kansas. No special ed. None. Nothing at all. You just helped the guy that couldn't do it very well struggle along, and I suppose there might well have been kids in the community that were not in school because they were judged not to be able to compete in school and were quietly kept out, but I don't remember knowing of any. One thing I do know, though, is at the junior high level, we had some girls that I think they're girls that they were interested in growing up as little women, boys, I don't know what all, and not at all interested in studying. And we had a 6-year-old lady, Mrs. Smith, that her class load wasn't too heavy, and I asked her to take a handful of those girls and see if she could teach them something to get them to find out they could learn. Whoa, that went on for quite a little while. Mrs. Smith buttonholed me to say, I don't know if I can teach those girls anything or not. They just don't get it. And I've made it about as simple as I can. I've decided to concentrate on spelling. I can't hardly get them to learn to spell cat. Well, Mrs. Smith, you've tried hard. I'll reassign them some way, and thank you for trying. No, I can teach a dog to do tricks, and I can teach those girls to at least spell simple words. Quite a lady. Quite a lady. Incidentally, the school board and I did a bad thing. We thought that, she was getting pretty frail. She might die in a classroom, and we pretty much forced her to retire. Heck, she went over to Campo, Colorado, and got a job, and I don't know how many more years she taught over there. Great lady. To her descendants, I apologize. We should have let her teach for as long as she wanted to teach. Well, then, Phillips University, 1959-1961. Oh, great programs in speech and hearing. But didn't see anything there in the way of any kids getting any help to be able to cope with college, or wasn't aware with my student-teacher program and visiting a lot of elementary schools, wasn't aware of any special education in the Enid schools. Probably there was, but I wasn't aware of it. And 1961-67 at Jeffco, well, yeah, by golly, now here is a first-class special ed program. Wouldn't go according to today's standards at all. Separate building, separate director principal. Whoa, you got a tour down there, you saw lots of really handicapped kids getting very good additional help. But separate building, bust them in from all over. Well, that brings up 67. Oh, then up at Sheridan, Wyoming. We had a lady up there. It seemed to me like her last name is Keating. And I'm telling you, she had the oldest school building. It would have probably been closed, except I think she had lobbied a little and said, hey, let me have that for my special kids. And she did a great job with those kids. But she was ahead of her time and wanted to send a kid or two over at a time to the high school or the junior high for a class in a regular class. Oh man, the opposition to that from, well, principals, teachers, and parents. Sad, sad. Well, fast forward to these last few years with an autistic grandson, a great-grandson. Do I ever appreciate the special ed programs of today and the kind of help that lad gets. I think there's an aid goes with him, period by period. They have special activities in the community, athletics and so on. The aides help. They also give some help to the mother and father at home. God bless you all, and thank you for special education.